It is William here on an afternoon in May that, strangely enough, here in Connecticut has no snow or no rain, although they are expecting it. So, anyways, just here among the bottles and the cans of the neighborhood boys, and they seem to have leveled off. The flow of carts and bags and stuff have seemed to have kind of stopped or slowed here in the yard at the Kilt. Um, and I couldn't figure out first why. I was like, oh my god, it's like, these guys are slowing down. What's wrong with these guys? It's a hustle. And it's like, then it dawned on me, there are no businesses open. There's no businesses open. There's no restaurants. There's no, Circle K's. There's no 7-Elevens. There's no dumpster diving really allowed around here because there's no trash in the dumpsters. And it's like, I talked to the young man here the other day. I said, it's like, where are you guys going, for this now that, the corona has kind of put a damper on retail here. And he said, well, it's like we try to get it through the neighborhoods, through the locals, through the residentials, so everything is like, it's like, you can't get it commercially now, so they're trying to get it like through the residentials and the neighborhoods around town. And it's like, all right, more power to you guys. That's hope it works out. Anyways, this reminds me of a time ago in Phoenix, um, before Corona. There was a guy that I met when I first moved to Phoenix. I had moved into an apartment there, studio apartment, and I was trying to get my footing there and do the steps there, if you will, after a hellish 2 years on the streets of LA. So, I was, doing my steps in my apartment, and I met this guy, and he had to be about 30, 35 years old, maybe, and he was local. He was a local guy, and he was canning. What he called it's, oh, I'm doing my canning, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, hey, I got less cans for you today. If you're interested, you can pull them out of the dumpster there at the apartment building where I'm living. He's like, all right, thanks. And and this guy was like 35, white guy, and in Phoenix, and so life went on. in the heat of Phoenix. And I'm slowly detoxing, from my time in Los Angeles. And I noticed that he seems to be toxing. I don't know. He seems to be getting redder as I'm getting paler in the Phoenix sun. And it's like, and I couldn't figure out why. It's like I'm like improving my life. I'm taking care of business. I got an apartment now. There's no joke here. This is, it's like, housing first realized kind of thing. And it's like, I'm putting it together here. And it's like in the ghetto, and it was the ghetto of downtown Phoenix at that time. It was a lot of trash and ghetto at that time in downtown Phoenix. There was nobody there. Nobody was living there. It was cheap. Why I was living there. It wasn't like college town as it is today. But anyways, time went on. And I noticed that, it's like I became stronger. I became more serene. I became more enabled and empowered by my sobriety, And what's interesting, correspondingly, he seemed to become less powerful, less, empowering, less enabling, as I'd see him, every other morning or whatever, doing the canning that he said he was doing throughout the hood in downtown Phoenix. But what goes around comes around. It's like you drink that beer, it still needs to be redeemed. It still needs to be somebody to take it and put it where it belongs. Okay, so 2 years later, I go back to Phoenix to see friends from the homeless shelter and the caste system there. Who do I run into? Mr. Canner. In the hood. Well, the hood no longer is the hood. It is now like, millennial Mecca. All the empty sand lots that were there when I first moved in, and which allowed me to live there because the rent was so damn cheap. All of a sudden had like monstrous condos and, Starbucks and, groovy cool bars and nightclubs. But I ran into my canning man, there. And it was interesting. I was haggard. I was bearded. I was probably smelling like shit. It's old clothes and stuff because I'm homeless. I'm touring the country. I'm only in Phoenix to see my niece's wedding. That's the only reason that brought me back to the heat of Phoenix, Arizona, is like to see my, niece's wedding. So I'm pretty dirty and disgusting. And who do I meet but my canning man? And he's there, he's kind of bulked up, okay? He's kind of pumped up. He's kind of Mr. in charge. And, he's like standing taller. He's walking straighter. It's like, hey, and I'm like, wondering, like, what's going on? It's like, hey, how are you? He said, I'm doing okay. old man. How are you? I'm like getting by. I said, you look good since the last time I saw you. How have you been keeping yourself since the last time I saw you here? He said, well, I'm doing well. As I said, are you canning? Are you still doing the can? Oh yeah, I'm canning it, man. I'm canning it. Well, like okay. Bet the cans are getting a little better, huh? Yeah. A little more exclusive. He said, well, it's new neighborhood. I said, I hope you're taking care of yourself. He said, yeah, hey, nothing's changed. It's a hey. I'm still at home with the folks.